to Affairs of the Heart with Whitney, a safe space for heart talks. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be when you receive this message today from me. First of all, I would like to say I want to thank God for life, since He is priority always. Praises to the Most High for the gift of life. So cheers to the weekend, cheers to right now, and cheers to the days to come. We made it, guys. We made it. We're in 2025. So before I start this message out tonight, I always like to ask where we are with our heart space. So I'm asking, what is your heart space and what is your love casting? That's right. Often we're asked about the weather to plan our day and events. Like, what's the forecast, right? Well, I think it's sometimes and almost always important that we have a check with our hearts and our heart space, along with our spirit, on behalf of how we live throughout our day and how we're getting through minutes and moments. Because before we consist of the whole day, we got to get through moments, right? By doing so, we encounter so many different climate changes when it pertains to weather. And you know, weather changes at a rate of like quick, fast, drastically, whatever. And in those experiences, you get rain, you get floods, you get hail, you get sleet, you get snow. You can see where I'm going? Right. So with that being said, just like the weather, relationships we encounter daily, whether it's from dealing with ourselves, speaking to the Most High first, family, friends, employment, our personal mate, none of these interactions are never the same. They will never be the same. For that reason, we're here now, having Affairs of the Heart talks with none other than myself, better known as Whitney. Now, let me just say this. Some of you may know me as Whit J, Lady J, Boss J, Boss Whit. And I'm pretty sure from college I have a whole list of other crazy names when I was trying to define myself out here. But if you know me, then, and you know me now, I'm very simple. So just call me Whitney. If you know me and you know well about me, and if you just come in here, let me explain. I'm a person that's very adamant about relationships, healthy relationships, how they're thriving, no matter if it's from the relationship of oneself with the Most High, which is God, Lord Jesus Christ for me. No matter if it's with your children, no matter if it's with your mate, if you're, in a relationship, if you're committed, if you're married. I've been there. If you've been divorced, in your workspaces, in the environments with your workspaces, in the environments with your family. Any friend of mine that's been a true friend of mine will actually vouch and say, hey, she's been there. She shows up, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm showing up, not only just for myself, but others that are willing to share the same space and want to have the Affairs of the Heart talks in this safe space, right? So I just have to ask, guys, like, what type of affairs are you entertaining in your life, right? What type of affairs might you be entertaining? That's a question I feel like we should ponder on for ourselves. What are you attracting? What are you entertaining? What are you giving attention to in your spaces of your heart, right? What are you allowing to come in to something that is so sacred for you? No one should be able to get there unless, they willingly care, they genuinely care, their intentions are pure to be there, first and foremost, is what I would say, right? And what better way to actually go about knowing if they're really there in those moments, genuinely showing up? You gauge, you observe. And, most people can use the texts of the Bible, try the spirit by the spirit. You would know them by the fruits that they bear. I really believe that all of that is true. Simply because you have to watch, you have to pay attention. You have to know what irritates your innermost being, your spirit, man. When you're interacting with others, and I'm the first to say, when I'm interacting with anyone, if my spirit is irritated, it's something that I need to think about in that moment when I'm choosing to deal with you. Okay. And the reason why I decided to go about making this podcast, one of the many called Affairs of the Heart, is because when we speak on affairs is an encounter with more than one person. We know that as an adult today. because we're already a part of the Lord's relationship from creation of birth, and the higher being, the Most High, has created us, and He's the only one that should dwell in that heart space as a priority daily, every minute, every hour. I feel like as we connect with others, since He is the priority of our heart, we may already be starting an affair with someone else. Then you're bringing them into that heart space where He already dwells, and you sharing that heart space already with someone else. So then you have to ask yourself, if I'm bringing you into this affair with me and my Creator, are you here to, show up with us, to add to us, to know the purpose and alignment of why you here? And the same goes vice versa. Don't get me wrong, because it's not just about you, on the journey of life. So I say that to say this, that I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that you chose to be a part of Affairs of the Heart Talks with Whitney. We welcome you, and thank you for taking the time to actually join in. So by doing so, we'll start from here, just giving you more detail and more insight on where we're headed. All right, so I'll go first to give some insight, more so about what this podcast entails and what this podcast is pertaining to. This actual podcast pertaining to Affairs of the Heart with Talks with myself is going to be one that is mostly spirit-led. We're going to have some righteous talks on here. Also, just very deep dialogue, being transparent, most importantly. Transparent, bringing clarity from different perspectives. I may have guests on, with strong minds, different perspectives from different genders as well, that can actually, give further insight onto some of the actual relationships or the affairs they may have had, that gives us, a different solution, how we may move and go about things in a healthy manner, because no way is always going to be the right way for one particular person or one particular setting. Maybe you take something from it. It doesn't mean it's going to go that exact way, right? So again, we want to make sure that you you leave this podcast with renewed again thoughts, pretty much saying like born again, right? But in the aspect of knowing that you have stirred your heart space in a comfortable setting. So we open and we leave room for that. Whenever you want to join in, most definitely do so. I will be going live monthly, pertaining to sometimes every other week. It just depends on the guest and where we at. Again, we're just starting. So just want to bring you up to speed on that. So if we have affairs that are from the heart, and the heart space that we want to discuss, here's the time, here's the place to do so. And I welcome you all. And I want to thank you for joining. So I read a quote earlier this week. And the quote is from a Greek philosopher by the name of Plato. The actual quote states, "Every heart sings a song, incomplete, until another heart whispers back." Now, I don't know what that means for some. I can tell you what it means for me. We all sing a different tune. We all walk in a different light. We all have a different melody. What our heart sings, what we desire, what we need, what we want, what we're in search of. And another heart may sing, a similar tune. Our hearts are not all the way complete. It can start completed, and it has, again, from the creation of birth. But until another heart whispers back, genuinely, in clarity, with transparency, that's when you are heard, right? Another one that I came across was that from Paul Tillich. He's a German philosopher, and his was, "The first duty of love is to listen." And we'll be doing a lot of that here on this podcast. Listening to understand, find reasoning, to gain wisdom and knowledge for our hearts, for the betterment of our heart spaces. So I think that, these quotes were one to actually give to you all. And everybody may have a different perspective of how they receive those quotes. And another thing from God Himself is that love covers a multitude of sins. So with that being said, I am so passionate about healthy relationships and love. And I want to share some of these talks with y'all going forward. And by doing so, I have had someone already this week that found out about the start of this podcast that wanted to write in. So I'm going to take a moment, gather that letter from an anonymous sender. So here we are. We have a letter that was emailed in anonymously. I would like to say this. I'm no expert. I do not have everything figured out, but I will do my best to provide clarity to some of the concerns you may have that is addressed in regarding to your heart in the heart talks that we have going forward. If you feel like you have a question or concern, by all means, you can email in, or you can just join us on the live. Hey, that's what we're here for. But moving forward, I'll go ahead and begin to jot over to my email and read this anonymous letter. Dear Affairs of the Heart, I'm such a lover girl myself. I'm a very private person about my life. I've been dating for over 2 years now. It's very horrible out here. My last relationship lasted me every bit of 5 years. I feel like I wasted so much of my time in a countless relationship. I found myself in many different situations ever since then. I think I love too hard, and those that I've loved have never really loved or haven't loved at all. I have a few questions. 1 or 2 will be the max of questions. Oh, let's hear these questions, guys. I'm concerned about these questions. If you can give me some feedback, I would greatly appreciate it. I ask so many people. You get so many different responses. But right now, I just need one healthy one. Cool. I got you. Why is it so hard for others to take the risk at loving? When everyone takes bigger risks every day in different scenarios of their life, does loving others always have to be all like pain or disheartening? Okay. Thank you for your time. And thank you for hearing my concern. I appreciate it. All right. Why is it hard for others to take the risk at loving? Good question. I must first say, Lord, brace myself. Let me just jump into this topic. Life itself is a risk. We do take risks every day. I want other people to understand that. We risk just going out every day in vehicles, no matter what we're doing, right? And we know we shouldn't be doing. And we say, hey, I don't care if it's gambling. Gambling, you can gamble with your own life with things. Basically is what I'm trying to get at. Whenever you love someone or you want to love someone, that is kind of so taking a risk because they may not give you the same in return. You know, the same affection, the same loving, the same emotions, the height and thrill of the capacity that you want it to be, right? Let's just start right there. We're not alike. None of us are alike. We are built different. We have different backgrounds. We have different perspectives. So how I receive love may be different from that of how my mate receives love. So we just start there. So when you take a risk at loving somebody, when you take a risk, you know you got to go into a risk as I may lose it all, right? Or I may gain, or this may be a win for me. So you can lose, you can gain, or you can win big. Okay? It's totally up to you how you went into that risk of taking that risk. In hopes of anybody that risks to love, I hope you don't go into it with a heart feeling like you won't lose. And it's not really you losing. Because if you show up and you do your best, you gave your best, you left an imprint. And I know it doesn't feel good when you have to walk away and you put so much into it. But let's just be clear. You should also walk away with what I just stated. Not a loss, but a gain. A gain internally. A gain of a sense of, okay, I can take this and this will build my emotional intelligence. This will build me to know what not to do in the future. That's from the downfall perspective. Now, if we go into it and you take a risk and you get the win could look like two people, of course, they came from two different backgrounds, two different perspectives, but they were able to sit down, do the healthy talks, the healthy communication, the clarity, the transparency, in order to make that risk a win for them. Does a win show up every day? No. But in that moment, y'all won. So you got to know your winning moments, and you got to know when and how to address it. People do take bigger risks every day than love. They really do. And sometimes those risks can affect different relationships on how they play out. But I would just say, whenever you go into taking a risk, when it pertains to your heart and it pertains to love, you know, set aside time with yourself and the Most High. You know, I will speak to God first, you know, most certainly. Secondly, as it pertains to self, with the move that I make going forward, I would definitely say you need to write it down if you possibly could. Hey, is this risk gonna be one that can I deal with the loss? Can I deal with a small gain? Because you don't know if you're gonna get to that win. It's rolling the dice, or it's just the slot machine. You don't know. You just don't know. But if you are really a lover person, you would know that one slip up or one missed encounter shouldn't have that big of an effect on you when you know what you're showing up for, and we should love every day in spite of failed expectations, because we really shouldn't set them on people, but people do. Let's just be honest and let's be clear. In spite of failed expectations, in spite of somebody not reciprocating back to you the way you want to, in spite of somebody not having the proper communication skills, and you know, in spite of, these are reasons why it could be a loss and not much so of a real gain or a win, right? So I would say, just know the risk you're taking. Make sure you effectively communicate that with the person, and see if they're bringing the same thing to the table, and see if they're gonna look at it as a risk. Because some people may not even look at it as a risk. They may be ready to show up. You know what I'm saying? Put the coins on the table. Just put it out there and just roll with it. You know. So, and it could be your win. A win looks different for everybody. And again, I get it. You know, taking a risk at love, it can feel like that once you've been loving for so long. I would say, do not lose hope. Do not lose faith. Love in spite of, you know. And if you really believe, love will find you. You don't have to find love. Love will find you. I would say it does. It does sometimes it may get lonely. And I will never get weary, because if you take a look around your circle, who's around you, who is playing a part in your everyday aspect of life, that's love there. And I understand that we want it from a mate as much as we have it from friendships, or we may have it from certain family, or colleagues, whoever. We want it with us, and we know that it's certain, right? You gotta wait on it. Patience is really a virtue. Patience is the time of working on self, being patient with others, whatever they may be working through. And that's a form of love. That's a gift of love. You're being patient in that process. So again, I wouldn't beat myself up hard about the risk, about, what's out here. Hey, it's a lot of muddy waters. It's a lot of muddy waters that we have to flow through in life. And I would just say, we every once in a while, we'll see something and be like, is that clean? Is that good? No, just wait on it. It's coming. I too myself would have to sit here and be transparent and say, I'm a lover girl, and I know that it's coming at the right time, the right season. It will be there. So I'm gonna leave you with this quote, and I hope that helped. I really do. And for anybody else that wants to email in, feel free to do so. Again, if you want to come on the live, join us at Facebook, on YouTube. Most importantly, do so. The email is going to be affairs, AFFAIRS, affairsheart365@gmail.com. So affairsheart365@gmail.com. And if you want to send anonymous, you can. If you want to share your name, that's fine too. But I know a lot of people probably want to prefer to be anonymous with whatever concern you have. Again, if it's pertaining to your mate, if it's pertaining to where you at in your heart space, and you just need clarity, you just need a little bit more insight on how to go about things, I'm here. And some of my other guests will be here too soon, so no worries. So on that note, I am going to close this out with an actual quote from St. Augustine, which is another Roman African philosopher. It is love that asks, that seeks, that knocks, that finds, and that is faithful to what it finds. So let love find you. Once again, let it find you. Love will come. Love is patient enough to sit, talk in clarity, with transparency, and again, like effective. Love is gonna hear and reason to understand, with no conflict. Will there be disagreements? Yes, but it will not be a battlefield or a battleground. So just wait on it. I always say wait on it. The wait is important. And I hope, again, this helps everyone. Again, welcome again to Affairs of the Heart with Talks with Whitney, which is myself. I look forward to the future and everything it has to bring here in this space with you guys. And cheers to 2025 and years to come. We'll talk soon. Have a good one. For anyone that's looking to be a part of Affairs Heart Talks with Whitney, myself, on this podcast, I do want to say first, like, share, and subscribe, most importantly. Secondly, I would say you can email me at affairsheart365@gmail.com. Again, the email is affairsheart365@gmail.com. Not to mention, or if I forgot and failed to mention, I would like to say I am more than welcoming to have you here on this podcast to bring healthy talks, clarity, transparency, and some great ideas to move forward with, that helps others, strengthen their relationships for themselves, for the relationship they share with others, and just have a different perspective of open-mindedness in a healthy way, to get through life. I know it's crazy right now for all of us, I must say, especially when we're engaging in these romantic relationships out here on the dating field. So why not, get different perspectives from that of men and women, to bring clarity of what we're thinking in our mind. And again, transparency is to help, step away from some of the trifling things that are going on behind the scenes. Nobody wants to be in a war zone with anyone, or in a danger zone with anyone when it comes to loving or sharing a space with anyone. For that reason, we want to make sure that if we're going to start anything new and freshly this year, we'll start it by doing what? Having Affairs of the Heart Talks with Whitney in a healthy, safe space. And hoping that and praying that this actual safe space with Heart Talks will take us on a better journey that would soon reflect in society, So that's what we're here for. And if you feel like you're one of those individuals, by all means, like, share, subscribe, and email. I'm here for it.